Yay.
Yay. Yeah.
And we're watching Disney Channel.
Na 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 na. I did the ears towards the camera.
That was good.
Is that the camera we look into, by the way?
No,
you just have the one
Fantastic.
right there.
I always look into that one. Imagine if I was looking into like the wrong camera the whole time.
Wait, no, dude, I have been. Like that, I for sure.
But you haven't noticed since reviewing the footage?
Well, again, I don't watch the footage as we've discussed. Like,
you don't watch the footage?
Well, I like watch it for our clips, but I don't watch the full thing.
Oh.
Do you watch the full thing?
Yeah.
So I've noticed when I watch the full thing, I black out what we're saying and I'm only locked in on what I look like.
I mean, that's fair.
But actually,
a lot of times I have it on and then I like will put my headphones in and go do something and not watch it for a little bit. So I guess I don't watch the whole thing.
But yeah, you're right. If I am locked in on me, you would think that I would have discovered that I'm literally not looking in the right fucking place.
Yeah, you're disproving your own point.
Okay, so no more like direct to cameras here. We shift there.
All over there.
Hey, sorry guys. I hope you feel seen now.
They're like, actually, could you go back to the other one?
They're like, hey, I thought we discussed that we don't watch you on YouTube.
We don't, yeah.
So yeah, no worries there whatsoever.
Although that's not necessarily true because we do have our very first hater.
Oh my God. The way that I had people reaching out being like, that's huge. Congrats. Like,
I love getting that.
No, me too. I'm like, you hate us. You hate us enough to listen? Thank you.
You hate us enough to listen and engage with the content.
Yeah.
Helping us in the algorithm.
No, to me, I'm like, we've crossed a threshold.
No, and like, I feel like I have more in common with like that kind of person than I do with someone who would just be like indifferent to me. Like,
no, completely.
We actually have a lot in, we both hate me. First of all, like that's good.
So like on that foundation, we share a lot.
Yeah, we share so much. We could definitely break bread. So yeah, that was a really exciting development in Floundering world.
And it aligned very cleanly with the outcome of the election too. I'm like, hey, look, things are pretty bad, but if it's unleashed people like this into our YouTube channel, perhaps there's a silver lining here.
Right. If there's a segment of the population that's feeling emboldened to kind of take on people like us, I think that's a net positive.
Yeah, I implore you.
Yeah.
I implore you.
Bring your metaphorical torches, your tiki torches over to Floundering Inc. and we can have a discourse.
No, this is a pitchfork-friendly environment. Take us down.
Yeah, I would love that.
And drive up our view count in the process.
No, I loved that one time that I had a TikTok do like medium good. I was getting a lot of like mean comments on that, and those were the ones I loved the most.
No, of course. Like, I was walking around with my head held very fucking high the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, all of you in Bagel Pub are acting like I don't have a hater. Unfortunately, I have.
Unfortunately,
hold on, let me check.
One, and you're irrelevant, and I'm hugely important.
Exactly. So step aside while I get my everything lightly toasted with cream cheese.
And thank you for including that detail.
Of course.
Did you have anyone reach out to you who was like concerned
that we had a hater?
Yeah.
No, it was literally only positive feedback. They were like, hey, congrats. Like, so happy to see Floundering doing so well.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm really happy about it. And I hope to get more of those.
No, likewise.
Also because like, first of all, I do think like as a culture, we have embraced yapping, both as a term and as an activity.
Can I pause you right there? If I see one more Instagram post that says this and a yap, and it's like a Caesar salad, I'm like, I'm going to have to go ahead and Timbuktu it.
For sure, Timbuktu it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it has like sort of reversed back to now it's where it's uncool.
Yep.
But our hater specifically said, nobody cares what you two are blabbing about.
Oh, you're so right.
And I personally love blabbing.
And yap and revive blab. Because I will say yap implies like you're really going on a train of thought. And I really want to stress there is no train. No, there is no thought.
And that's why blab is so good because it's exactly describes what we do here.
What's the word like onomatopoeia? Where like something is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I cannot think of anything we sound like more than blab. Like in my life.
Yeah, it's 100% accurate. He got it so right. I assume he.
Oh, of course.
He got it so
white
right.
male he.
Yeah.
White cis male he.
It's like a beautiful woman.
Ooh, actually that would suck.
No, that would be really hard.
Like a bodacious, like lovely siren of a woman.
It hurts like whenever people just assume that like someone who's being mean on the internet is ugly because it's like, what if they're hot?
What if they're snatched?
And you don't know.
Oh, I only want ugly haters. I don't want any snatched haters. I mean that.
Look, I don't either.
Okay, I just want I'm sorry like that I was trying to debate you on that point.
No, I think if I have a hater, I know in my mind what that guy looks like.
He's in one of those massive gaming chairs where it's like 360 surround sound around his ears.
I just had a chill run up my spine.
Me too. Whoa.
Because I'm so attracted to him.
Well, actually, that is what he wants. He's negging.
He's for sure negging.
Yeah. And honestly, we are taking the bait.
Because you have to I always want to go into the universe of that person and be like, you're on YouTube. This got served to you for some divine purpose.
Sure.
You go click on it. You listen to us blabbing for however long you do. And then you feel compelled to say, nobody cares what you two are blabbing about.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on in your day? Like, what did he go get, like a coffee before that? Like, I just want to know.
That is such a good point. Because like when when the divine God serve me something in my algorithm that I don't agree with, I cannot be scrolling past that faster. Like, I don't want to spend any time engaging more than I have to. I also don't want to mislead the algorithm into thinking like this is worth my attention economy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Totally. Well, also like it's confusing because with YouTube, I don't know if that comment was it on our...
It was on a short.
It was on a short. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. So I was going to say... How do shorts work? Like if you're... I'm not like a YouTube consumer.
I'm not either.
You watching a short like you're watching like your For You page?
I think that they have their own version of the For You page.
Okay.
It's like shorts.
It's like the little shorts page.
It's like the little shorts page. And I think theoretically you go there.
Okay.
And they serve the same thing. So in my mind, I was thinking, because I experience YouTube as they're influencing you when it comes to what they put on your homepage, but there is an element of choice to what you decide to click on and watch. Whereas with like TikTok, there's no choice other than just like the algorithm choosing for you.
So let's engage in this thought experiment. What if that's exactly what he wants his algorithm to be? Is just women blabbing so that he can comment and say, I hate you, whore.
I guess that. Yeah. I mean, it's part of it. Clearly it is.
Yeah.
Otherwise he wouldn't have received us.
It's so funny how little I understand how algorithms work. I'm like, he's playing Call of Duty and then all of a sudden we pop up and we're like, the Berenstain Bears are stupid, silly.
And he's like, these fucking ugly bitches.
We like surface it in target practice in his Call of Duty game.
He wishes.
Yeah. Oh my God. He'd be so lucky.
We should have some kind of, later on in our careers, we should do some kind of branded integration with.
Oh my God.
with a first person shooter game.
Like we pop up in what's
Grand Theft Auto.
Well, what's that world that like AOC kept popping up in? Not Minecraft.
I don't know.
Fortnite. We're like doing the floss dance in Fortnite.
People would love that.
I'm like completely ready to sell out that way. I'm like, put me in a DNC badge flossing in a Fortnite game.
It's better than some of these, ad campaigns out there. I think we could have a lot more creative, integrated advertising with what we have going on here.
I completely agree. More immersive experiences.
Totally.
Yeah. So anyway, shout out to our single hater. I wish I could remember his capital HIS username.
Me too. I'll go looking for his @ later and we'll shout him out.
Did you time me how long it took me to spell his?
A little bit. I did clock it.
It took me a little bit.
I was wondering where you were going with it, and then I thought, I don't really want to know.
I think I was just like trying to reemphasize that he's a man, but instead I felt the need to compel his. I had to spell his pronoun to make that point clear.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's important.
Yeah. So anyway, shout out our guy. We love you.
We love you.
Please
so
come
much.
back. Oddly silent on our Berenstain Bear.
You know what though?
Short.
And this is something that I've thought about in the past. Like I have had full like relationships with certain creators where at first I hate them and I hate watch them.
Yeah.
And then it actually turns into like an earnest relationship that I'm like, I'm actually a fan.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, there's like YouTube channels that I watch of people who I originally hate watched. So that I think would be like kind of a fun plot twist for us.
No, totally.
And capital HIS.
Capital HIS. That happened to me actually with remember how I told you episodes ago that like my algorithm doesn't understand me and I'm served like troubling content about children and a lot of family content. Interestingly, I've become very attached to one of the families. Kind of like what you're describing.
Yeah, that will happen.
Yeah, like I don't even hate watch them anymore. I'm like, this is an earnest like family structure, and I'm so happy for all of them. Their names all start with K. We've heard that before, but they're doing it again.
They're doing it different this
They're
time.
doing it very different in Florida.
They're like, what if the Kardashians were less rich?
What if the Kardashians worked at F45, the gym?
What if the Kardashians went to Jiffy Lube on the reg?
What if the Kardashians really liked Ruby Tuesdays? Then what?
Then what? And we're answering that question.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Wow. And I want to know if there's like a term, like a psychological term for what we're describing of being so saturated with something just because that's where your attention for whatever reason has gone.
Yes.
To then now by osmosis, you're a fan.
Whoa. Do we think there's any there with our presidential candidates?
Candidates. What do you mean? Do you think that there's a way that I could like Trump someday?
I mean,
I already do.
Oh, right. No, of course.
Because I actually
what
think
a bad thought experiment.
Concepts of a plan is so funny still.
No, that was my main takeaway from that debate for sure.
And I still think about how much that applies to my life all the time.
Yeah.
Like I've never related to a presidential candidate more. And that's where we got to have more Democrats who are relatable like that.
No, I think that was the fatal flaw, which is just like America, when you boil it down, we're a bunch of dummies. Mm-hmm. So just speak to us like the dummies we are.
Right.
Talk to us about your concepts of a plan.
Yeah.
Like, just talk to me in baby blocks.
Read me a picture book.
A little pop-up. No, seriously. I have some inspo for you. It's called Love You Forever. And it's a 10-minute YouTube video. And honestly,
you will want to kill yourself the entire time.
It hit really hard. No, that's the biggest outcome. Just like talk to us like little baby people, because that's what we are. We're sheeple.
And like, don't have a plan. Like, procrastinate your debate prep. Like, do a bad job.
If I learned anything in college, is that my best essays were written 17 minutes before they were due.
And isn't that not the case?
And every time I stressed for 2 weeks leading up to the essay, I bit my little fingers down to a bone and I called my mom telling her I was having a nervous breakdown. Mm-hmm. And the essay was never written.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, 17 minutes before class, the essay is written. And wouldn't you have it? There's a there there.
And it's genius.
And it's genius.
And it's Gia Tolentino levels.
We were like, okay, glass mirrors. Wait, was that what it was?
Trick mirrors.
Trick mirrors.
I wasn't even going to correct you.
People were calling it glass mirrors.
People were calling it that.
Because they were like, trick mirrors, of course, is
People were calling
it
that because it wasn't quite Gia Tolentino, but it was like sort of similar.
It was in her universe. Yeah. It was in her thought camp. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't mean to make light of the situation, but
no,
holy hell. And what we were saying, though, is I think there is something to, like, if you're inundated with something enough, that just does kind of become an extension of what you think and believe.
Well, and not to get too political with it, but that is how Trump got elected the first time.
Of course.
Because the media was just like, you guys love this guy.
Actually, so we're only going to focus on him.
Right. There's no other person involved here.
Yeah.
And he's gotten a lot less compelling. So I did have a moment, like I did feel like, does he really have it this time around? But he actually did more than ever.
Oh my God. Cool. No, he could be back with vengeance. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So
and now we got Dr. Oz running Medicare. Hey, love that guy.
I am like, my nervous thoughts in the middle of the night now are like, our children are going to have polio. Like that's where I am with these cabinet appointments. But maybe we like bottle that up and take this conversation off pod.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, we could go on and on about this and no one wants that.
No.
Can I just add something before we do flip or flop?
Yes, please. Please.
Which is that just one little grievance that I have that I don't really think is necessary at this moment. We shouldn't be picking fights with one another, but I've just seen one too many.
Wait, With me?
No, just with people.
Oh,
writ
the
large.
global we.
The global
Okay, I was
economy.
like, don't pick a fight with me now.
Yeah, no. We're
always on the same side.
We're aligned, and I think we'll be on the same page about this.
Okay, cool.
Hopefully, but it's okay if not.
Yeah.
No worries if not. I've just seen one too many videos recently of people referring to their cats and or dogs as fur babies.
Yeah.
And I just need to formally, for the record, state that I don't endorse that. And I really don't like it for some reason. It just really, really bothers me.
I'm happy you are bringing this up.
Thank
because the same people who call their dogs, cats, even birds are in this mix. Well, actually, that wouldn't apply.
Baby?
Feather baby doesn't.
Feather baby.
No, you're right.
Honestly,
that's cute.
I kind of like.
Feather baby.
Feather baby.
Wait, I call you Feather baby.
That's what Sabrina Carpenter is called.
She's such a feather baby.
By her lovers.
Yeah. No, literally. In this realm of lovers, you are either broken into a feather baby or a fur baby. I would say Ariana Grande is probably also a feather baby.
Yeah. She's a cusper.
But she's cuspy.
She's cuspy.
Yep. Because she's very cat adjacent. And
she's very cat adjacent.
Would be fur.
And she does have a dog.
And she does have a dog.
But there's something about her essence leans more feather baby.
Yes. Yeah. Charlie XCX. Feather baby.
I am like, I don't even want to put her there.
She just doesn't even she doesn't feel like on the spectrum of dog, cat, dog.
No, she's definitely a reptile of some sort.
Maybe she's scale baby.
Yeah, she's scale baby. And that, if I had a lover, is what they would be calling me because my skin is dry.
Girl, I was born a scale baby.
Yeah,
I came out the womb a scale baby and now I'm a scale woman.
I am a cold-blooded scale baby.
Cold-blooded scale baby. I've literally never identified with anything more than cold-blooded scale baby.
Yeah, maybe that's title of ep, honestly. But I just do want to say, like, if you have a pet, I think we should bring back like treating our pets like pets.
Yeah.
And we love them.
Of course.
And we love them with all our hearts.
Oh my God.
But they're not babies.
Right.
And
so
they're
what I was going to
say
babies. Before I brought birds into the mix is the fur baby people are the same people who put their pit bulls in pajamas.
Mm-hmm.
Do not put your pit bull in pajamas. That butthole has been God knows where. I know you're not washing that pajama set regularly.
And your pit bull doesn't like that.
Your pit bull has its own pajamas, which is its glossy little fur.
Fur, which you never shut up about.
No, exactly. So how about that?
How about that?
Let the fur babies live in their skin, which is their fur, and not their duck onesie.
I also just think like people have gotten a little bit insane about their pets.
Yeah.
People have gotten a little bit, and I don't mean that in any way towards you.
No, Roscoe is my son, but he's neglected and stinky. But that's exactly what a pet should be, honestly.
And I think it's more like an identity thing. Like you're not constantly, sometimes, like actually let me walk that back.
Yeah.
But you're not annoying with it.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like obsessed within the confines of my home. And then I like to give little glimpses of how much he means to me to the external world.
And you have like a whole full life around you.
Yes.
Whereas some people, like their fur babies are their life.
Yes.
And I'm like, we need to do some kind of an intervention situation.
Yeah. No, I'm totally aligned with that.
Well,
let the dogs be, you know?
Yeah. And I think maybe this is like theme for another topic for another episode.
Yeah, there we go.
I got there.
There she is.
But just like I think because culturally our generation is not having kids as much or having kids later, it's like seen as the trial run for kids. And I think that has definitely emboldened people to act as if their pet is a kid.
Yes.
And I don't know what the future implications of that are going to be, but I think it's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to be clear, like, I'm all for people loving on their pets and speaking to them in voices as I do too.
Yeah.
Like, please continue to do that. It's the specific phrase fur baby and the community of behavior that surrounds fur baby.
Thank you.
That needs to be squashed.
Thank you so much.
Extinguished.
And I would even like, I think we could go in more depth about what that range of behaviors is. But I think you can kind of imagine what we're talking about.
It's the people on Instagram who like will serve their, again, it's a lot of pitbull content, but like serve their pit bull a plate of spaghetti and meatballs with like a napkin around its neck.
Yeah, I will say while we were apart, I did get really into an account of a dog that does eat really, really well. But that person doesn't ever talk. It's just the dog.
This is
no
the difference.
one's referring to the dog as anything.
This is the difference. I think fur baby people like to be centered in the fur baby story.
Say that.
That's it.
Say that.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
That really got to the crux of what I've been having issue with.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's they want the spotlight alongside the animal.
It's giving like Munchausen's by proxy, where it's like you are so obsessed with like being perceived as the parent of this thing.
That's exactly it. You want credit for being the parent of the fur baby.
Wow. You
can't let the fur baby have its own spotlight. Oh my God.
We cracked the code.
We cracked the code.
Thank you so much for that.
Episode
done.
Wrap it up?
Yeah.
Cool. Connor?
We're good here.
Roll the credits. Connor's like, what?
Laughs. He's like, I'm eating.
Connor's like, shut up. Oh my God. Flip or flop?
Thank you so much. Yeah, flip or flop. Let's do that.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up at the top of the app too. I feel like we've like actually unlocked something here and now we can get into the deep work.
Yeah. And I feel seen and heard by that. So
that's what I'm here to do.
So flip or flop is a segment that we do on this podcast at varying different times, usually in the beginning, but sometimes not. And
sometimes about halfway through, which is where we are in our recording.
At now. So thank you for making it this far. It's going to be electric.
Yeah, it always is.
So flip or flop is a segment where we look at the time we spent apart, which in this case was 3 weeks.
A really damn long time.
A long time.
Yeah.
And of course, our time apart is always bad, but we like to take a moment to call out something that was good that happened, a flip, or something bad that happened, a flop. Would you like to go first?
I would love to go first.
Okay.
So I have a flop, which of course is, par for the course in these times. But as we all know, I'm like pretty inundated in like wedding culture at the moment as mine is approaching. And what I've realized is that involves a lot of like analog forms of communication. Like I'm writing a lot of letters, like I'm writing thank you notes and like I'm leaving voice notes and voicemails to people as like, thanks for coming to X, Y, and Z or whatever. Would you be part of X, Y, and Z moment? I am realizing that I have like fully lost my analog communication capabilities. My handwriting is Sanskrit. There are no recognizable letters. They are not following any left to right pattern. I am literally creating new languages.
You're creating new language.
Talk about glass mirror.
Yeah.
Gia Tolentino.
That's what you
2.0.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing with my thank you notes. Like to the point where I had a cousin, thank you, reach out being like, your handwriting's entertaining to read. Not even commenting on the substance of the letter. She was like, the handwriting alone, girl. What a carnival. What a wild ride.
It's like, I love to imagine what kind of drugs this person was on.
Yeah. It's like, I love the picture you painted me. I'm like, that was a letter.
I love the little drawings you did.
Yeah. Oh, the stick figures. And they're like walking in town.
That was Love Isabelle.
And they're wearing top hats. I'm like, thank you for coming to my party, Love Isabelle. Did any of that track?
Hey, quick question. What was the dragon on there?
So the people jumping into the flaming pit, was that like, what was that? I'm like, my signature?
Yeah. So you don't journal at all?
No, but I do a lot of journaling in my notes app. Like I do a ton of note app, like stream of thought stuff. And when I do, like when I was in the habit of writing, which was like more of like a 2 years ago type of thing, I would have to do most of my writing on paper. Like when I'm getting like creative thoughts out, that's the only way I know how to write.
Strange.
Which is strange.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's just like been long enough of me being out of practice with that like it's compromised for real.
I mean, it is something that I think with practice you can get better at.
Yeah. You famously have very good handwriting.
Oh, you think?
It's the type of handwriting that like in middle school, I was like, if only I had a more feminine name and more feminine handwriting, maybe then.
Isabelle is one of the most feminine names.
I know, but it's so funny. When I was growing up, I could not have viewed it as more androgynous.
How strange is that?
I know. I think it's because I was just like a bit tomboyish. Like,
Did you not feel like you identified with your name?
No, I didn't. I was also just like so jealous of like very feminine things for some reason.
So was I, and that's why like if I had the name Isabelle, I would have been like, I used to dream that my name was Chloe.
We should have met oh my God. And I had a literal tantrum with my mom where I was like, the fact you didn't name me Jessica means we do not see eye to eye, girl, you and me.
Wow.
I needed you around though, because if I had one person be like, that's a gorgeous feminine name, I would have been like, you're right. Sorry.
I mean, Belle literally means like beauty, doesn't it?
Yes.
In some other
language.
And
one time my bully in 3rd grade told me that, a man.
But that's a nice thing.
No,
but
he
was saying it in like, why does it mean beautiful when you're so fugly?
That was the subtext in my mind.
Maybe he was like actually just hitting on you.
Maybe it was Negman 69 or whatever our hater's name is.
69, yeah.
Big old Negs 69.
It must
suck my Neg 69.
Wow.
Okay, found him.
Love that guy.
So anyway, yeah, you have the type of like very like round, like evenly spaced handwriting that I was like, now that is how a woman writes.
Yeah, that's funny because I feel I used to also covet those people's handwriting.
The curly handwriting.
Yeah, I never, like the hot girl handwriting.
Exactly.
And I never saw myself as having that. And I have it sometimes, but I don't. Sometimes my handwriting is bad. It just depends on the vibes.
Yeah, I have to, if I'm not paying attention to what I'm writing, like I'm just writing to get to the end of something, it is like pure carnage. If I'm paying attention, I'm like, okay, this kind of looks like a typeface, but it's not feminine. Like it's very, and I hate that I keep saying that, but it's just like very like pointy and boxy, which I feel like when you think about traditionally male things.
Yeah, it's
that's
okay.
What it is.
Sometimes it's like, sometimes all we have is feminine and masculine
to
describe things. And we just haven't got there linguistically yet to know what is beyond this binary.
Thank you.
But I think it's like, I think we have to give ourselves grace sometimes and let ourselves describe things as masculine or feminine.
Yes.
You know?
No, totally.
I was in a thing earlier today, not to tangent off of this, but I was just like working something through in my mind. And like, I couldn't say something without saying a qualifying thing after that of like, but this and this, contradicting that. And it's like, can we just say stuff and understand that it's not the ultimate truth?
Yes, of course. Thank you. No, thank you for saying that, because I am a victim of the qualifier where I say something and I'm like, but that's a blanket statement and it's totally erasing this point of view from the conversation. And people are like, you're talking about the letter A and the way that yours is pointy and not round. Right. So like, how about...
And I'm so sorry to everyone who I offended by calling my handwriting masculine looking because it's pointy.
No, thank you. And literally, look what we've done. We've talked about literally nothing for 45 seconds because I felt the need to qualify something.
But I think this is an important conversation to have.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Because we gotta be able to say stuff. If that's what we're doing here.
We gotta blab.
We gotta be able to blab.
Let the girls blab, even though Suck My Neg 69 won't have it.
It's gonna be like daisies and flowers, like XO is gonna be there.
No, exactly.
Their handle.
Pretty in pink. 4444 angel numbers. Yeah, which you know is a woman. FYI.
Harmony 1111.
Divine intervention 888.
So wait, so your flop is having handwriting.
The flop is I've forgotten how to write, and instead I'm writing in Wingdings. And the other thing that I'll say is, which actually came to light far before wedding time, you are very good at leaving a voice note. Like, I feel like when a point that needs to be communicated is like simply too long for text, you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to send a voice note. So I've been experimenting with that with you. And I tried to leave some thank you voice notes to people because I thought that would be nice. The way I cannot leave a voice note.
No, they're really hard.
I was introducing myself. It's like, hi, Gammy. It's Isabelle King.
Isabelle, 29.
Born July 25th, 94. But yeah, I'm like, whoa, the simple and sweet forms of communication are so foreign to my broken brain that I'm incapable of doing it in a normal fashion. I need to retrain my brain to do these normal human things.
Yeah. Well, voice notes are so much harder than they seem. And oftentimes it takes me many different takes to get the one that I like.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, it's just an absolutely humiliating slog of me sitting alone in my apartment being like, hey, so I was thinking about blah, blah, blah. Fuck. And then just like doing that about 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. It was funny. I was watching something and it was like some woman on Instagram, and she was like, me trying to or she was like basically she is a fashion influencer, and she was trying to train her significant other to like be the person who says hey, so she turns around and like shows what she's wearing. She's like, the way that he can't do it without sounding like he's gonna rob me. Hey, hey. How I start every voicemail though. Bitch. I mean, hey.
Hey, girl.
It's me.
Thanks for coming to my bridal shower.
Super thoughtful. But yeah, I feel the same way, where it's just like the step repeat of like, does this sound like a normal form of talking, or am I still missing the mark?
When I was little, I had a formative experience with voicemail because it was the first time I ever was like calling. It's like the first time I ever was like calling my friend's house.
Yeah.
To like invite her over for like a play date or something.
Yeah.
And it went to her voicemail. And so I left a voicemail, but I like messed up. And my mom was right there. And I was like, can I start over? And she was like, no, that's like not how they work. And I was like, well, why didn't you tell me that before? Like now I'm still on the line. Like actually having a panic attack.
The full family's at dinner like, oh God.
Someone pick up
They're like,
this girl out of her misery.
Go talk to your friend. Put her out of her misery.
Yeah.
Take her out back and put her out of her misery.
But that's what it feels like sometimes to do, at least with voice notes.
You can start
iMessage.
over.
Whereas don't try on Instagram, because they don't tell you that when you do voice notes on Instagram,
it just sends automatically.
They just send them. Yeah. At least.
Thank you for letting me know.
You're welcome. I don't know if they've changed that in like recent months, but.
Well, there was one, and maybe some iOS update addressed this, but wasn't there a point in time where like you would hold the voice note, and then when you released your thumb, it would send?
I don't know if you release your thumb, it send it, but I know that in the past you used to have to hold down the recording thing the entire time you were recording the voice note, and now you don't have to do that.
Yeah. Oh my God, the notion of like watching your voice escape into someone's kitchen. That's tough. You can't take it all back.
Yeah.
But you know what? Maybe that's a good forcing function for us. Maybe we need that rigor back in our lives, where it's like you don't get 100 takes. Yeah. You get one.
The fuck it, we're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bill O'Reilly
We're not going to edit this. I'm going to keep my address in.
Keep your address. We'll keep all that stuff about that guy.
Negman?
Yeah. Which I can't call him that. Because I don't.
Can't let that phrase leave your lips?
I can't. It sounds too much like a superhero of something that I don't want to conjure.
Oh, no. Stop.
Anyway.
So anyway, that's
your flop.
That's my flop.
It's
just, but you know what? The flip is like, it feels really good to write a letter, and it feels really good to send a voice note. And I am going to commit to teaching myself how to write again.
Good for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something so lovely about writing a note to someone and sending it. I could never do that anymore, but.
I mean, I'm sure I'll find a reason to stop doing it once
you're married and you have all your gifts and your.
For sure. Once this is put to bed, but. Anyway, your turn.
My turn. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll try to keep this short. But I have a flip.
Okay.
In these dark times, it's important to find the light.
Of course.
And during the week of the election, I had an experience where over the course of 3 days, I talked to all 3 of my exes.
Whoa.
So I've had 3 like.
It's like the Stations of the Cross. Like, actually, you literally visited the Stations of the Cross.
No, and it felt like fated. Like it felt like I was supposed to have these sort of, I don't know. They weren't really like momentous in any way.
Sure.
But they were so not. They were so like not triggering in a way that in all 3 of them, that was in a way that was surprising to me. But anyway, I'll just keep it short. On Thursday, I talked to my most recent ex, just a little bit about the election stuff. And it was like usually our conversations, if we have them, are like me bitching him out, me yelling at him. But I've like reached a point where I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
That's on growth, big time.
So that's on growth. And that was like already kind of like, whoa, that was good, cool. We had a normal conversation. And then on Friday, I got a call from my ex-girlfriend who I haven't spoken to in 2.5 years.
Oh my God.
We talked about you briefly, actually, because she asked me what I was up to, and I told her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, your friend. Like I remember her."
Oh yeah.
And
oh my God, talk about deep pandemic.
Yeah,
that was like that's when I met her.
Mid Prospect Park.
Yeah,
park.
We were still doing like outdoor distance dates.
Yeah.
So
we chatted for like 20 minutes. We had kind of a contentious like ending. There was like a kind of a bad ending, and we kind of like patched things up.
Yeah.
From that. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then like the next day I went to a wedding and my college ex-boyfriend was the officiant. And I was like, I thought he would be there, but I didn't know he was like going to have this huge role. And like he was there with his girlfriend, and I felt like nothing. And we had like a quick little like brief interaction, and it was friendly.
Wow.
And I know it doesn't sound like that crazy, but I think just for me in that experience, it felt heartwarming, kind of.
No, there's definitely like a there's like a turning of a page there.
That's what it felt like, yeah.
You know, where it's just like, and for the first two, did they instigate the outreach, or did you reach out to them?
The first one I instigated.
Okay.
I reached out to my ex and said, hey.
Cool.
Which was so cool of me and awesome, actually.
Hey, thoughts on November 8th?
Hey, thoughts on whatever just happened?
Yeah.
He actually was like, did you hear the news? And it was like on Thursday.
Yeah.
I was like, haha. But so I initiated that because he will never ever initiate contact with me. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, but with the next one, my girlfriend, she initiated. Wow. I have not talked to her in like 2.5 years. So,
I mean, I feel like in many ways it's just kind of like a visitation of these former versions of you. It's almost like giving you permission to be like, all right, like your turn now. Like,
yes,
you've visited these old chapters and they were completely benign and like pleasant conversations. It's almost a reminder, like if you look back, just like know there's nothing else to address. Like
100%.
The purging is done and you can move forward with a clean slate. That's what it feels like to me.
And there wasn't like much of a question about that, like going in.
Yeah.
But it did feel like a moment of a turning of a page. And yes, like you said, the revisiting of the different selves.
Yeah.
Because like, especially with my college ex, like that's a person like in terms of myself in that relationship who we have not been in contact. Like she and I we're just so different now, you know? But I felt like I remembered her, like I was like, oh, hey, you like you existed, and like it's cool, like we're all good, you know. Like,
it's kind of funny, like you know what it reminds me of is like when you visit home or something and you like open up your drawer and you pull out like your old favorite shirt, and you're like, LOL, I would never wear this like 3-buttoned Hollister cardigan, but like I remember you very fondly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you have to put it back on.
Right.
You can just kind of like appreciate that it's still there as like a little memento of the former you.
Yeah, totally. So it was just kind of, I don't know. And especially in like light of the election, I don't really know why those things were connected. But I think because when my ex-girlfriend called me, she was like, yeah, I just was thinking about you with like the election. Cause like last time when Biden won, we were dancing in the streets together famously.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just felt like a turning of a page and entering into a new chapter.
Yeah. And there is something so interesting about like those 3 exes in that like I keep harping on like the former you, but it is like so the chapters of you are so distinct.
Yeah.
Like it's UVA Carey, it's COVID Carey, which, you know, was like post that workplace that we shared Carey. And then it was like comedy Carey.
Yes.
And now it's like, what's the next Carey?
What's the next
Carey?
We're on the Eras tour.
Eras tour. Yeah, for sure.
Everyone should go on their own Eras tour.
Yeah. We're in the basement tour right now.
Yeah.
In our basement
era. In the Bone Museum tour. Yeah.
Oh my God. What an era for you and I. That's a really major flip.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
So yeah.
Aw.
Well, that's That does it for another round of flip or flop.
Yep. We balanced each other out. We canceled the ledger. We're at 0 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, moving forward, I will be writing more letters and Carey will be exploring this new era.
And I love this new era.
Me too.
Even though it's like, and that's the other thing, not to bring it back to like politics of it all, but like the way that people are responding to this feels different in like a good way to me than 2016. Because I feel like we were all so shocked back then. And now I think the vibes that I'm getting are like, let's just ignore it and like kind of live our lives.
You know, and I've been thinking so much about this because we had so much rage in 2016. Like the messaging was very much, you should be outraged. This is about resistance. This is about like action. This is about demanding more of your whatever representatives. And now I'm like, well, actually, it doesn't seem like we can have much faith in our representatives, period, at all. So like, I think for the next 4 years, I need to focus on making me as strong and good as possible.
1,000%.
Like I am not looking to any of RFK's like whatever stem cell nonsense. I'm not demanding more of my Democratic Party.
Thank you.
Like they have flopped, and now I think I just need to like carry on my merry way and look within.
I'm going to divest from giving all my attention to that thing that I can't seem to have any influence over.
No.
And maybe just like build community and like meet my neighbors.
Yeah.
And like go donate or like volunteer with my mutual aid group.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like be more invested in like the world. And because that's where like the real change happens. It's like my $50 to Act Blue and buying my like camouflage Harris Walls hat proved to be completely fucking ineffective. So yeah, perhaps I need to, and we've talked about this too, like loss of community. Like we're so behind screens and so like and actually this feeds into something that we want to talk about, which we're just like so inundated by the screen world that we like we've lost our touch with the community around us. That took me as long to say as it took me to spell the word his. So maybe on that note, you can kind of take it from here, transition us into what we want to talk about.
What was the thing that you were just referring to that this transitions us into? Because I feel stupid and don't know. Oh, knowing too much.
Knowing too much.
Yeah. So I've just been feeling this way recently. I think it's my own fault because of the constant stream of content that I force my brain to intake in a given day, but just the exhaustion of knowing too much about anything or just like too much disparate stuff. Like, because I'm not like becoming a master or like knowing a lot about one topic. It's like what brought this to my mind is that I get like astrology videos on my FYP because that's who I am as a person.
Sure.
And every astrology video, a lot of them start the same. A lot of them are like, you're going to want to listen up to this one because this transit is about to rock your world. And it's like, okay, tell me more.
Yeah.
But it's like every single transit you say that.
Sure.
So in theory, like my world should be getting rocked constantly.
Of course.
And I guess it is. But I saw one the other day that was like, Pluto is moving from Capricorn into Aquarius, and that's going to be so disruptive and change everything. And where you want to look is where Aquarius is, what house Aquarius is in your chart, and that's where you're going to find out where the change is going to be. And I was like, okay, great. So I'll find out. So I go to my chart, look where it is. Then I find out what the house means.
Yep.
And then I look into that. And now it's like, I'm so overwhelmed.
Like I forgot what the ask was actually.
Right.
So like, ma'am, what was I supposed to do with
and
that
also,
again?
Like, what if I just continued living my life and I find out how stuff changes from that?
I'm so happy you put this in our doc because it is an epidemic for me at the moment.
Yeah.
Like to the point where like I am so consumed with like making sure my brain feels full of fact and like information and factoid that like I cannot focus on what someone else is saying because the whole time I'm like, how can I connect that to this article
This
I read
factoid.
or to this little factoid?
When your whole personality is factoids.
No, and you know that I am slowly morphing into factoid freak. Negman 69 and factoid freak. That's me.
Yeah.
And it's completely, it's useless knowledge. It's just like, it's fact for the sake of fact.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I was on the way over here and I found myself deep in some Atlantic article about the health benefits of beef tallow. And I was like, girl, put your phone down.
Yeah.
You don't need to be knowing this stuff.
No, there's so much. And like I used to feel that way when I would walk into like a library or like a bookstore where you look around and it's like the daunting nature of the fact that there's all these books and I know I'll never be able to read all of them.
Yes.
And that's just something you have to accept. But I think with now there's like, imagine that, but it's all condensed within your phone.
Yep.
And there's no scale for you to be able to see how much there is. So it's like overwhelming in a different way. Like,
yeah.
I can't explain it. But
no, because it puts it in your fingertips in a way where you feel like you can reach the end of it.
Right. But it's an endless scroll.
But it's an endless scroll.
Yeah.
Right. And you feel like, yeah, and that's the whole point, is that it feels gamified. It feels like you can like reach some milestone or level when in reality, like the universe is infinite, knowledge is infinite. You will never reach the end of it. It doesn't matter how many beef tallow factoids you have in your little skull. That does not amount to much. Right.
And I think also with the nature of like TikTok, with the algorithm, it's like your eyes are constantly being opened to new worlds of new topics or things or activities or things you could get good at.
Yep.
And it kind of feels like you are doing it by nature of watching it, but you're not actually doing anything.
Yes.
And you're just pumping your brain with concepts.
No, because I forget what I was listening to or watching, but basically like I consume things as the minimum viable product, where I'm like, what are the number of words that I have to read to be able to be like, I can speak about this? And I do not read beyond that. So like I will open up 1,000 tabs and I will read like the first 3 sentences. So like I'm not engaging with any of this on any meaningful level. I'm just like seeing what I can get, like what little iota I can squeeze from it. And then I'm clicking out of the tab and I'm moving to the next one. And along the way, I'm not amassing anything of note.
Right.
I'm just like pummeling my brain with stimulus.
So what do we do? So what's next?
We start writing more letters to our friends.
Well, yeah, that's like, yeah, the weird like paradox of the content exhaustion is that a great way to like not be consuming is to create stuff yourself, but then it's like I'm now contributing.
Yeah, but
which is how I feel whenever we post a reel.
Of course, but that's okay. It's fine when we do it.
It's fine when we do it because we're not actually spewing knowledge. We are just here for the vibes.
Exactly. Yes, that's a great point.
I like to envision my work as a podcaster as helping people to turn their brains off. Whereas, maybe that's what the scroll is too, I guess, but mine is better.
Yeah, no, I like ours better for personal reasons.
For personal reasons, ours is better.
Yeah, but that is a good point where it's like, I'm not asking you guys to like, yeah, because it's funny. I enjoy listening to other people's podcasts. Like that, I feel like is the most like deep. And you know what it is? Like, I think it's the most social form of consumption that we have. Like,
yeah.
You know, like with some of our favorite podcasts that you and I have been listening to for ages, it's like, I feel so connected to those people.
Mm-hmm.
With these articles and these TikToks, it's just like, you guys are fleeting moments in time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want people to feel like they can like be part of this world that we're building. And it's like kind of cool when you can be involved with that with someone from the beginning. And I'm getting so excited. I'm clicking into our like episode dashboards and like we're getting people listening to our old episodes.
Oh, really?
I'm like, that's so fun.
That's
like
amazing.
People are just like joining the fun. People are joining the party.
Yes.
And I think that's the difference for me, where I'm like, you get to be part of like a little world here The internet is fucking scary and lonely.
Mhm.
But here I want people to feel at home.
Well, and like theoretically, I mean, this, like, we could have like a meetup where
Sure.
all of the Floundering fans come and hang out and we have a drink or something.
And they have to like adorn us with fruit and kind of like
and bring us fishies.
Pray at our altar.
Right. And they have to give us compliments.
Yeah, of course. And then we can have like a martini afterwards, but you do need to kiss my feet.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just what I want.
But yeah, it's not. And yeah, there's something about like, I don't know, with astrology in particular, because it is like, that to me is a science. Like, it's a science.
Totally.
And like the people who talk about it like a science,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a science that pertains to me in my life.
Totally.
So I feel invested in learning about it, but then I'm like, wait, actually, I can't. Like, my brain's not wired to like handle this so much information. And like, I don't know which planets are trining each other and what that means. Like, it's just too much.
I actually feel, and like, if this is not what you're talking about, then obviously that has not been the first time that I've tried to do that with trying to connect something. And you're like, that's literally not what I'm talking about at all. I feel like the type of content that stresses me out the most is like the optimize yourself content. Yeah. And to me, like astrology and this kind of like, yeah, it's like, what corner of the internet am I missing to like reach the most actualized version of myself? Like that type of content really stresses me out because I'm like, oh, I haven't unlocked, like there's potential in this new moon or whatever that you're describing.
Yeah.
And same with like articles will pop up about like, this is the exercise regimen or like, these are the foods you need to be eating. And I'm
That's
just like,
another one.
This is scary to me because like, I feel like I could experiment with this all day long to like reach this version of myself and probably find at the end of the day that like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the depths of like what you can do to be your best self content feels very discouraging to me because I'm like, I'll always feel buried under that. I'll never reach the end of that.
Yeah. And that is like hugely popular at the moment.
Totally.
Maybe it always has been, but like, I think it's one of those things that like any old person can get on the internet and tell you how you should live your life.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do that sometimes.
Completely.
So not really like in a prescriptive way, but yeah, it's just, I think there's too much. And I love, at the end of the day, I do love to sit in silence. When I unchain myself from the screen.
Oh.
And I put it in a different part of the room or I put it in a different room and I just can sit. That's actually really nice.
Spacing out is like the coziest space to me.
Yeah.
Like my cousins used to make fun of me because like I would literally just be like in a kitchen with like people buzzing around me and I would be like tranced out at a wall. And I was like, no, I'm here. I just like need to be a little bit more like with myself at the moment, if that's okay with you.
Well, and what's funny is like so much of my algorithm is content that is like cozy content. Like cozy night in with me while I like make a meal or like cozy coloring something. Like that's hugely part of my algorithm.
Yep.
And it's funny how like what do I think I'm getting from watching that versus what if I actually just did that?
Yeah, what if I don't know, colored?
What if I just made myself a meal?
What if I was a cozy little queen in my bed right now? Then what?
And then I do like I'll have a night where like let me have that night.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'll be sitting doing it and I'll be like, hey, I'm doing it. I'm doing with that thing in that TikTok.
Maybe that's what I was like trying to uncover with like why self-help content is so upsetting to me. And it's because like I'm always reading it and I'm never doing it.
Yeah.
Ever. Like how
Maybe
great would it be to have like, I don't know, the beef tallow skin routine for a day.
Right.
But no,
Maybe
instead,
it's life-changing.
Yeah, I'm a cold-blooded scale queen.
Yeah.
Scale baby, shout out. Yeah.
Any other cold-blooded scale babies in the room?
Stand the fuck up, Connor.
Connor identifies as more of a. Actually, he doesn't want to be a part of this. Probably.
Actually, no. Connor, chime in. Fur baby, feather baby, scale baby.
Scale.
That's my guy.
Yeah, that's like the cool people are scale babies.
Definitely. Well, think about it. Cold-blooded. What do we love to do? We love to sit on rocks and sunbathe
and chill the fuck
and
out
just vibe. dude.
Can you imagine a lizard scrolling on TikTok?
They would never, because they're too busy sunning themselves.
Literally.
We need to get more in touch with our lizard roots.
And also, I'm just like, let me be stupid. I just want to be stupider. I want to not constantly be thinking about the ramifications and the implications and the underlying meaning of everything. Like, I think ultimately the exhaustion that I feel from knowing stuff probably is my own fault.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what this like impulse that I have to just like thinking is a trauma response.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just not going to.
Well, also, like, I've spent so much time being the like receptacle. Like, I've spent so much time like letting information hit me, and it's obviously a trauma response. Like, I would so much rather bury my brain in information than like sit with my thoughts and like myself. But yeah, like I have not. And it's funny because I feel like this is a theme that pops up in like so much stuff I listen to, like comedians on podcasts or whatever, people being like, I haven't had a new thought in I don't even know how long. And like, I think it's said in jest, but like, I feel that way deeply, or I'm just like, the thinking has been done for me for so long that like, I literally forget what it's just to, like to sit down, what it's like to sit down and like, let my raw thoughts bubble to the surface. Mm-hmm. And I put this on our like agenda of things to talk about, but like instinct and gut feeling and like acting on what you believe in your bones. Like, I am so handicapped by the information in my brain that like the second I have a thought, I'm like, well, but you know, like it's the qualifying thing.
Yes.
And yeah, I just am so, I want to return to a place where I'm like, I'm saying this not because of an article I read or like some talking head that I listened to, but like because I feel this in my bones.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I wonder for you, like what that is. I feel like when I am in those, and I have the same affliction of like the constant need for stimulation and like the wanting to take things in and wanting to understand or know, read articles and read the books or watch the TikToks. And I feel like it comes from a place of like not thinking that my thoughts uninfluenced by anything else would be
enough,
interesting or valuable. Yeah. Or enough.
100%.
And it's not even like, I think people often are like, I can't be alone with my own thoughts. And like, as the implication is like, because of the darkness or the intensity of it. And it's like, it's actually for me more like, I just don't value my own thoughts as much as I do other people's.
That I identify with 100%. Yeah. Like I'm actually, I love being alone with my thoughts.
Same.
Like I love being alone. We've discussed
We've talked about this at length.
No, seriously, it's like my favorite time.
Yeah.
I think I'm describing exactly what you're saying, which is like, I'm more afraid of like talking without my notes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like showing up to the debate not prepped, where it's like, I need to have more conviction and just like, my opinions and my beliefs.
Like, do I need to know what Ronan Farrow thinks about that? Or can I just have what I think about it?
Certainly. Does Maggie Haberman need to be like the angel on my shoulder, like guiding my points about this conversation? It's just like, and it's funny because I have had these, I like went to a dinner at a friend's house recently and like we were just talking about whatever, like the state of the world. And I literally had like an out of body moment where I was watching myself like regurgitate something that like Ta-Nehisi Coates said, where I was just like, are you even paying attention to what other people are saying? Or are you just like, did you just hear a soundbite that gave you an in to regurgitate this one line that you heard on CBS? Like, it was just a very sobering moment where I was like, you are not participating in this conversation at all. Like,
I mean, I think it's, I don't want to go too far in the other direction because like, obviously it's good to read stuff and like.
No, of course.
Like, it's cool to be able to be like, oh, I know what Ta-Nehisi Coates said about that. You know, like that is cool, but it's.
But in that context, like I want to clarify, in that context, I was doing it to just like literally put the point on the table that I had participated in that discourse. Like I wasn't doing it to further the conversation. Like I literally just like.
Was it like a substitute for your own thoughts?
Exactly.
Okay,
Woody doll, something pulled me and I regurgitated something. Like I probably could have arrived to that point without.
I could have gotten where Ta-Nehisi got.
For sure. Yeah.
I usually am thinking what he's thinking. It's just that he writes it down.
It's just like he kind of got to it first.
But like when he says it, I'm like, yeah.
I'm like, no, for sure. Like, and me too. And I was actually just going to say that. And to piggyback off of that.
To piggyback off of Ta-Nehisi Coates' point.
Ew. Oh my God. Me saying that I could have arrived there myself.
No, but
reader, I could not. But but I think you know what I mean.
Yes.
Just
well,
like,
also like, yeah, you could have come up with an interesting, salient thing to say in that conversation.
Exactly. Like I could have contributed in a way where it didn't have to be like, and footnote, parenthetical, conversation XYZ from CBS. It's just like, Jesus Christ. Like just put the book down and like have a conversation with your friends.
I will say though, at least with you, like the way that your brains, you can store knowledge, I feel, better than I can. Like when I read stuff, it's as though I haven't read it.
I don't believe that though.
Yeah.
What I will also say is like, you are so good about like bringing and I feel like that's why conversations are so much fun to have with you, because I'm bringing this very like myopic, like here's what I read in this article. And like, you are often the one who's like doing the like digesting and regurgitating for me. And I'm like, yeah, like you chew for me.
But at the same time, like, yeah, we ingest information differently.
We do.
Like I'm on TikTok constantly. And so the overwhelm about it comes from all these different places. It's very loud, like very noisy. Maybe that's why it's harder for me to like remember stuff.
Yeah.
But it is funny because when we first were starting to record this podcast, it was like you would bring in the articles. You would do the homework and I would just
you're the raw
nonsense.
reaction. Yeah. No, but it's like yeah, I just feel like I've been more and more recently, I'm like, are you like actively participating in this conversation, or are you like in some like oral test in college so that you can prove to people that you memorized the thesis points in this article?
Yeah.
Like I'm not even spending time really thinking about if that resonates with me. I'm just kind of like, can you commit these 5 points to memory so that you can share that back out to people? So that's like the pressure I'm feeling in the information age. It's like, can you prove to people that you are consuming?
Yeah.
And oftentimes for me, that's a memory exercise. That's not a processing exercise.
Totally. That's so interesting. And I'm glad that we are talking about this because I feel like it is very like relatable for people. But I feel like we're all like still in the midst of like dealing with this onslaught.
Yeah.
It's obviously been happening since like the 90s, and the fact that we all grew up with it and now like it's just getting more and more and more. Like I think what ultimately we will come into an understanding of as humanity is that we do need to be more in touch with like you said, finding out what resonates or like being able to actually engage with something that we're consuming, not just like blindly. Like it's to me, it's like kind of the equivalent of like when you eat something, 'cause we were talking about food earlier a couple of days ago, like eating something and like not even tasting it because you're just like eating it to eat.
Yep.
Versus like sitting down, having a relationship with what's happening, like giving thanks for your food.
Yeah.
Like actually tasting it.
Yep.
Actually appreciating it. And then like feeling how it feels inside of your body.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's similar with content too. Like we just have to be grounded.
Yeah.
Otherwise we will go cuckoo banana.
Oh my God. And girl, have we gone coconuts, bananas.
Yeah, I mean, Lord
in
knows.
My skull. Yeah. Someone save me from this train that's run amok. But another point that reminded me of is I was listening to maybe Caleb. So true.
Love him.
Amazing. But he had Trixie Mattel on.
I listened to that episode.
And Trixie Mattel was like, we need to be better about being bored.
Yeah.
We used to spend so much time in our lives just being bored. And like, it is that, like, I spent so much of my childhood just like making up shit to do because I was like, well, I can't, sit on the couch in my living room staring at the TV because my mom told me I can't watch TV anymore.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I have to get a little imaginative here. My Playmobiles need to start having sex, for instance.
My Playmobiles need to have a contentious divorce argument.
Yeah. This Playmobil needs to have a drug issue. And his mom needs to confront him. And then he needs to get a hand job in the back of his Playmobil car. We need more Playmobiles getting hand jobs in the back of their Playmobil car.
And that's thanks to your mom saying you can't watch TV.
Exactly. I need my mom to say, put away your
Liz.
phone. Thank you, Liz.
And thank you to Liz.
We need to be thanking Liz more often as the collective. But yeah, just like those, we need to find more vacant moments and trust that our brain and body will find ways to fill that in meaningful ways.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
And let us know what you guys think of this topic.
How do you occupy yourselves without your phone? I'm honestly curious.
Yeah.
Like, are you, and maybe this is a good feed into our M&Bs.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, maybe let's transition into our M&Bs because I think you found a good way to occupy your brain without a phone.
Yes.
So M&B, Message in a Bottle, is our closing segment here. We go through a lot here at Floundering Inc. And so we think it's important to end our episodes on a high note by sending out just a little love note to something in the ether that is sparking joy. And Carey's going to go first.
And first of all, shout out to the real message in a bottle that happened in the news recently.
Absolutely. A real message in a bottle was found in a lighthouse in Scotland.
And I believe the contents were just like...
It was a mechanical report.
Yeah, it was like an engineering blueprint.
They were like, building looks good, no leaks.
They're like, P.S.
Yeah.
Fuck your mom.
Yeah, P.S. wife sucks. People were like, so we can't release the contents of this letter, but we can tell you that we found the letter.
We found the letter.
Yeah.
So shout out to that. And thank you for giving us promo for our podcast.
Big time.
My message in a bottle this week goes out to puzzles.
Hey.
I love puzzles. I get into puzzle fiending mode in the wintertime because that's the season to do puzzles.
Of course.
And I will say, I do smoke a little reefer usually before I head into my puzzling zone.
Your God-given right.
I just got a brand new puzzle board where you can take it, you can transport it places so that you don't have to like have your puzzle take up your entire coffee table. And it's just so meditative. I think it's what you're saying of like, there's a vacancy to it. Even if I'm listening to something or watching something, it's usually like it's passively happening. My focus is on the puzzle.
Yep.
And the pieces and putting them in the right places.
Yes.
And it's just something so nice about it. And it's helping to calm me down in these stressful times. So yeah.
I love that.
Thank you to puzzles.
What puzzle are you currently building and how many pieces is it?
It's 1,000 pieces.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's elite in my mind.
Yeah. I'm like not very good at puzzles. Like it will take me a while to get this, but I like bigger puzzles. I don't know. But it's like outer space.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's like planets and the sun and well, you guys know.
No, go ahead. Name names.
Stars and sky.
Milky Way.
You guys know.
I won't get into it, but let's just say there's planets, stars, and sky.
And sun, even.
And maybe you can connect the dots about what I'm describing.
But also, I will say, like, that landscape, it's a brand new puzzle. I'm really excited about it and happy about it because it's, the combination of puzzling, smoking some reefer, and having it be outer space. It's like, I might as well not even be on planet Earth.
Well, and such a good point because I feel like I don't do puzzles often, but I do feel like because you do enter into such a flow state.
Yes.
And your world really does become like what that puzzle is. Like you have the board set up so that you can see it. Like you're very focused down on where the pieces are. And so every time I do a puzzle, I feel like I kind of like inhabit the world that you're building.
Totally.
And so like to inhabit a space world, which is just like quiet and zen, like maybe a little ping of a satellite.
Yeah.
Like that's such a calming place to like have your brain be focused.
Yeah. It's funny because I used to like thinking about space used to make me really anxious and stressed out.
Oh yeah, how do planes fly and what is space
And what is
it
out
real?
there?
Is like me
But
jolting up in
now
the middle of the night.
I am so comforted by the idea of space.
I am too. Actually, that feeds really nicely into my I'm gonna be. It always does.
Let's go.
My message in a bottle goes out to Mount Vesuvius.
Oh.
That big old bold brash volcano
Love
that
girl.
fucked up Pompeii so many years ago.
She really went off.
But in the same way, I've had a very complicated relationship with natural disasters. Like growing up, I was a hypochondriac and I was constantly living in fear of dying in a natural disaster.
I had a much more fear of earthquakes than I needed to.
Oh, tsunamis, earthquakes, really tsunamis and earthquakes, where I was like, I cannot actually imagine anything scarier. Same with health stuff, where it's just like, I literally can't control this and I could be dead in an instant.
Is Singapore a place where they have earthquakes?
They don't have earthquakes, but we did live in Singapore when the tsunami happened in Thailand and Sri Lanka and that part of the world in Southeast Asia. And my 5th grade teacher was in it.
Oh.
She survived, but she like by the skin of her teeth.
Wow.
But so I think that was like a very scarring moment where like I had been so afraid of natural disasters leading up to that. And then like literally my worst fear realized like happened a 2-hour flight away. But it's funny because like, again, it's like the unknown and the uncontrollable. And now I've just been thinking about like how big and scary the world is. And I'm like, yeah, but at the end of the day, like she's also so powerful and like there's just like not much you can do about that. And like you don't need to worry about a tsunami or an earthquake or say Mount Vesuvius blowing up. Like that's not for you to decide.
Yes.
Like that's for the world to decide. That's for the earth to decide. And you can like, she's powerful and just be okay with that.
Absolutely.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, totally. I think Mount Vesuvius is an interesting
because she's gonna blow again.
Oh, she is.
It could be like 100 years from now. It's
That's
one
not
of those
very
like
long
great
in geologic time.
No, of course not. It's like one of those great mysteries. In the same way that like the big earthquake is going to happen again in California.
Yeah.
People are just like, we don't know when. Like Mount Vesuvius will blow again.
Well, it's interesting because I think about climate change a lot because of work. Because that's whatever my job is. And so I was reading something about how they're doing the negotiations in the global negotiations. And I forget what the context was, but somebody was like, so will there be like consequences? Like is the UN going to impose consequences if countries don't meet these like emissions goals?
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, the consequences is climate change.
Yeah.
The consequences is what planet is doing.
Yeah.
Like, it's
literally your fines are not going to do much when Miss Vesuvius decides that it's time to take her top off.
Right. Like people need to have more of a
sorry about that.
More of a realistic understanding of like who actually runs it here.
Yeah.
And it's Mama Earth.
No, for real. It ain't your tariffs. I can tell you that much.
Certainly not.
It's the powers that be. It's the tectonic plates.
Wouldn't it be great if we got all the billionaires to go to Pompeii and then we had like a button?
You want to know what's really funny? Pompeii was like an elite resort retreat.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm like, go to Pompeii.
White Lotus season 3.
Literally, go to COP26 in Pompeii.
Yeah.
Get your mind blown.
They should have had COP there.
Yeah, literally. What did I call it? COP23?
COP26, but it's currently COP29. But you're pretty close.
It's COP29.
Yeah.
Yeah. COP29.
COP30?
I need you to pull some strings. Yeah. I need you to send those people to Pompeii.
I mean, to massage Mount Vesu.
Literally, give her a deep tissue massage so she feels like she needs to belch it out. Ta-ta!
That's how it works.
No, literally. And it's just funny. I'm like, you know what? Why be afraid? Why be afraid of that? Like, you live in such a powerful earth.
Yes.
There's nothing you can do to control that. It's a beautiful thing that you live in something so powerful. It's a damn shame we're destroying it. But she has every right to belch us into oblivion.
She'll get rid of us if she needs to.
Literally, she has like, she eats too much broccoli. All of a sudden it's toast for us.
Yeah, I love that I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
And I also think like it's important. I like to give thanks for the planet in that way because I feel as though if I show that gratitude and love, then we'll receive that in return when the day comes, when Judgment Day.
And I want to be very clear to Mrs. Vesuvius that I don't want to be the last one standing. So like if you are going to save me with like a good group of people. If no one is surviving, just take me out with everyone.
Yeah, that's
please.
Also my request as
exactly, 100%. So same page there. But Mother Earth is so powerful and I'm not afraid of you. And if you decide that it's our time to go, then I totally agree with you, girl.
Totally agree. Can't argue with that.
No, literally, we are on the same page with that.
I love when we end the show on such a high, happy note.
I know. Oh, I feel elated, truly.
Me too.
I feel like we ascended.
I needed this.
Me too, more than anything.
And we can't keep going this long.
No, we can't.
So,
okay, with no time left, top favorite Thanksgiving food that you're excited to eat?
Ooh, my mom makes these sweet potatoes that have like a streusel on top. They're sweet. They're very, very sweet. They're basically a dessert.
Yep.
But they're on your Thanksgiving plate.
Yum.
And they are delish. So that's my favorite. What's yours?
Apple pie.
Yeah.
With a warm slice of apple pie with a cold dollop of ice cream on the top. I'm a dessert girl through and through on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I love all the Thanksgiving foods, but that's a classic Americana.
And it's funny because I was like, if I was going to choose my like main plate, it was going to be sweet potato all the way. I mean,
well, we know how you feel about Japanese sweet potatoes. They're basically dessert.
No, seriously.
Well, we wanted to wish every one of our school members a happy Thanksgiving. We are so grateful for you.
No, we love you guys so much. Thank you for letting us do this and for even like giving us the time of day.
Seriously.
What an honor and a priv. And if you're escaping family trauma and listening to us on a walk, hi,
we love you. And just remember to, use the eye drops and stuff.
No, for real, for real. That one goes out to my brothers who made it too obvious last year.
Okay. Well, enjoy your Thanksgiving.
I love you guys.
Bye.
And I love you.
And I love you.
Bye.
Bye.